We seen oppression and turned out the market. Okay? So we're here to continue our African-centered movement, don't you know? We're here to be coherent and listen to the evidence, for this is a trial. I'm going to call this a people's tribunal. And when I come back after Steve Coakley, I'm going to ask you, are they guilty as charged? Or I'm going to ask you whether they're innocent. That's what they do to us. That's what they did to Mumia. That's what they did to Geronimo Pratt, and on and on and on and on and on, giving judgments of us. Who are they to judge us? Playing FBI with tin shit. Hey, these are hard times, and it's no time for gentle words. We're going to take a break after Brother Felder, so you're going to get a chance to go back and look for the information from Know Thyself bookstore. Get over to the Mumia thing to get back to Felder's table, and of course, Brother Steve's table. We're going to do all this. This is a coherent process. I just wanted to get it all out of my system. Everybody else going to be cool. I'm not mature enough to be cool yet. Brothers and sisters, biochemist, warrior, Jack Felder. All right, Brother. I want to start off acknowledging some people who brought me down here. Of course, I think all of you are familiar with Brother Dale Jones. He's one of the persons who brought me here. And we have Brother Ogisby. Take a bow right here. I met the brother up in Harlem at the Apollo Theater. I do a radio talk show about once a month on WLIB with Gary Bird, and I met him up there. He was pushing some Dr. Jeffrey Leonard tapes, videotapes, but he's a serious businessman. And to me, he looks like a movie a producer, you know, walking around with his hat. And also, I want to acknowledge Brother Deke, Brother Dale Jones' brother. He got Know Thyself bookstore. Go to that bookstore. It's 528 52nd Street. And he sells good books, okay? That's number one. Number two, I'm not a person who, talk loud and get emotionally, right? Because I learned a long time ago when I was playing football or basketball or whatever, if you get angry, you really can't play. If I'm playing basketball, I really can't play when I'm mad. Now, what I'm saying is, European people who brought us over here as slaves and who debased us for almost 500 years as slaves, they were just cool, calm, and collective, you understand? So I'm saying when we fight back, we got to be that same way. Now, if you get angry, it's going to interfere with your clear thinking. So keep your mind clear, and you do what you got to do to protect yourself, okay? I don't know what Dale Jones did, but I got a lot of calls from the white media here in Philadelphia, NBC radio talk shows. All of them want me to get on their show and talk about what I'm going to talk about. But you know one thing? I did a talk show last Sunday night on one of the white stations at 50,000 watts, and they could be heard in 3 states, and I talked about an hour or so, and people called me, and it was very cordial, right? But with Brother Steve Coakley, I was told that they wouldn't allow me to talk because I'm with Brother Steve Coakley, you know. Now, I know this man is banned from the airways, television and radio, because I remember one time he came to the Apollo Theater, WLIB. They have a listening audience, about 1 million people in New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. This man was walking to the mic. He had a program, and before he got to the mic, they stopped him and said, well, look, you've been bumped. So he's been saying this, so it's true, okay? Now, I have a book here, AIDS, United States Germ Warfare at its Best with Documents and Proof, by Jack Felder, biochemist, teacher, historian, and freelance writer. I'm also a freelance writer. I write for all the black papers in New York or city, you know? This book is on the back over there on the table. I got my 2 boys selling the book. You can go back there. Also, we got another brother from New York, Curtis Course. He has a book, Save Sex in the Age of Age, and we will sign the book when you buy it, you know what I'm saying? And that brother, he read my book and he got inspired. He wrote me a little note and he said he wanted to do something. I said, go ahead and do it. And he did a good little booklet, okay? And it's selling at a good price. This book is $15, and I will sign it, you can get it, okay? Now, let's move on. I said that with documents and proof, in New York City, I'm very well known, but I'm gonna give you a little history about myself, right? I am a biochemist, and when I graduated from the university in the 60s, I was drafted to go to fight in Vietnam, but I was born in South Carolina. I had to go to a segregated college down there called Allen University, and I graduated with a bachelor's degree in biology, chemistry, physics, and mathematics, okay? And I taught school for the first year because the only thing a black person could do in South Carolina in the 60s would be a teacher or preacher. That was it. Anything else was out. You couldn't be administrator or manager or whatever. You either had to be a teacher or a preacher or a laborer, you know, a low type work, okay? So I said, well, I didn't want to be a preacher because I didn't want to be a hypocrite, okay? So I decided to be a science teacher, and I excelled in science. And the first year after teaching, I was drafted in the military. I refused to go in the military. And that summer I was in the Bronx, and 2 FBI agents walked in my house and said, why didn't you report to your draft board? I said, well, I'm segregated, I'm abused. Why should I go fight for this country? You're crazy. I'm not going to go kill no Asian people for you. But to make a long story short, they said, well, you live in America, you either go to the army or you go to jail for 2 years, okay? So I was young, like 22 or something. So what happened, I told them I couldn't stand in the South, you know, and I wasn't going to go fight. So they said, well, would you go in the army if you didn't go to Vietnam and you wouldn't fight? I said, well, I'll think about it. They said, well, we'll give you 2 weeks to think about it, and we'll come back. So in 2 weeks, I did go to the military, and they said, well, you're going to have to be in the South for 8 weeks for basic training, then you get out of the South. So I went to Fort Jackson. I took 8 weeks of basic training, and from there, I was shipped out of the South, and I didn't go to Vietnam, and I was shipped to Chicago. I was shipped to Quartermaster Corps, 1819 West President Road, okay? And since I was a biochemist, I was a soldier scientist, and I was working with foods there, right? But the strangest thing, they were getting food from all over the world. And what they were doing, they were testing different kind of germs, bacteria, and virus to see how well they could store these food crops. And to make a long story short, what they were doing, they were using germ warfare against the food crops of different nations they were fighting. For example, they would get a rust attack rice or sugarcane or rust or rot or whatever, and they would send military planes over China, North Korea, Vietnam, and they would drop these bombs or spray it with chemicals. Now, most of you people have heard of Agent Orange. How many of you have heard of Agent Orange? Now, next question. How many of you have heard of Agent Blue? Agent Blue. I see 1, 2, 3 hands.